restful. Oh, oh, this meeting is being recorded. That's exciting. Okay, so we're here tonight for the full moon, and what a full moon it is. I mean, I am no astronomer, but I have eyes in my head and I have intuition and I feel the currents and the tides. So it is clear that this is a full moon. I've heard from so many people about these 2 weeks building up to here, how they have been an intense period of time. And Elizabeth, who joins us sometimes, she wrote a great Instagram post about how this moon represents truth, the stripping away of illusion, and the recognizing of truths that have been waiting to be told for a long, long time, or waiting to be realized. And I think that probably resonates with a few of us. So even if we're not that inclined to be seeing the lunar aspect of the practice, it's nice to just recognize the new moon and the full moon, because they give you this current of nature that it's easy to miss. There's actually now quite a lot of people refer to it, but when I started referring to it a few years ago, it was really quite rare, or at least in my sphere of my world of awareness, it was quite rare to be so tuned to the seasons and the moons. And it's a deeply feminine practice to see that. And I've just been listening to a really fabulous podcast with a doctor who's a brain surgeon and a neuroscientist. And he's talking about the seasons of the brain. So when he's working with primarily with cancer patients who've got cancer in the brain, he talks about the seasons of their journey and how there is the winter of sort of nesting in and knowing that you're going to need to just be quiet for a bit. And then the season of spring, where suddenly you get this kind of kickback of energy. Maybe it's a gap in your treatment, or who knows what reason, but you get this second sort of wind of energy. And then the summer, where actually you're full of all the lessons learned and the positivity, and you're so grateful for every day. And then the autumn, the going through the grief and realizing the trauma and how close you came. And so he was talking about healing through the lens of his journey, and how he's witnessed thousands of people going through a seasonal process of healing that he can see not only in their lives but also in their brain, and how the brain is releasing chemicals according to different seasons and what's required. So it's not just some kind of woohoo, I walk down to the beach and I look at the moon. These seasons, they're so real. We're cyclical beings. We are not linear. Nothing about our life is linear, really, except for this timeline, the illusion of the resource of time, which is a linear thing in our world. So for me, to practice Yoga Nidra and to just nod our awareness of the cyclical nature of us is a really beautiful thing, and it really adds to my practice. Yoga Nidra is a feminine practice. In all the Tibetan texts about Yoga Nidra, it's described as a practice from the goddess Yoga Nidra, the goddess of sleep and rest. Although we don't drop into actual sleep, sometimes we do, but sometimes we hover in that liminal space between sleep and awake, where things like the linear journey of time suddenly doesn't seem to apply. Resources as we know them in this lifetime don't seem to apply. We can kind of time travel and fantasize and go into a place that's so free from these chains and boundaries of normal mundane life that we usually have to apply to our lives. So this practice of Yoga Nidra is such goddess work, such feminine work, such nature work, and even using the word work is kind of a joke, because the whole point of it is it's no work. We step out of the way and let the journey be what the journey will be. And because we're traveling through these kind of dimensions in Yoga Nidra, there is quite a regular structure to the session, and I follow guidelines. I've trained with Una Dinsmore Thule, and And I work a lot with the teachings of Tracy Stanley. They have systems in place, and that's to keep it safe. So I'm not inventing any of this. I'm integrating what I've been taught with my own words, but these structures are thousands of years old and nothing's accidental. It's all there for a reason. So you're held within safe practice as you go. And if you drift off to sleep, I always say that that is just a question of consciousness saying, you're getting in the way, step aside, love, you go to sleep so I can do what needs to be done. Okay, so we'll start off with a little bit of movement. I think perhaps start sitting if you can be comfortable sitting. It can be in a chair, it doesn't need to be on the floor. Maybe before we go into that, just have a look around and check you've got something to cover your eyes. It's great to keep the light out. As many cushions as you feel appropriate, and then a few more. That's what I think. Perhaps cushions for under the knees, a blanket. Your body temperature is likely to drop, so make sure you're warmer rather than cooler. And then have a look around. If there's any candles lit, you can just blow them out. You don't need incense, you don't need essential oils. The journey is enough already, just in itself. And so when you know you've looked around and you've just checked that everything is set up in place, then come to sitting and let the eyelids drop as you breathe in and out through your nose. Now, if you're more than welcome to turn your camera off, to move the computer away so you're not looking at it. You don't really want that blue light from the computer anyway. And my voice is absolutely sufficient for what we're doing here today. You really don't need to see anything. Sitting up nice and tall. Feel the sitting bones as they press down into the floor, and let the spine grow tall from the pelvis. Chin tucks gently down towards chest. Breathing in and out through the nose. Let's take some circles and nod to this cyclical journey that the moon is reminding us of. So right ear down to right shoulder. Slow movements, they don't need to look in any particular way. Chin to chest, left ear to left shoulder, and then coming up and over as you inhale. And exhale, as you calm down and round again. It's usually a little bit easier at the end of the day when we're practicing 8 o'clock at night here in the UK. So we've had a day of movement, switch directions, left ear to left shoulder, chin to chest, right ear to right shoulder, and up and over. Second time. Coming up to center. Inhale as your shoulders come up towards your ears, rolling them back and down as you exhale. Letting today roll off the back. And if you want to, you can bring your arms in, maybe circling elbows. Maybe full arm extensions. If you have space. One more circle. Then we're going to circle the heart. So if you're sitting cross-legged, that's usually quite easy. If you're not, I'm sitting in hero pose. It's not quite so easy to circle. So just move in the way that feels good for you. There's no official right or wrong way to do this. Just feeling how that movement is for you. Exhaling as you come back. Inhaling as you come forwards. And then changing direction. And if you're finding the circles hard in the position you're in, then you can also just move the heart forwards and back. Rocking forwards and back. Sometimes that's easier. Okay, and then coming to stillness, you can maybe circle your hands. Feel how they're doing. I've no doubt they've been busy today. So let them circle in a way that allows any tension to release. I'm a classic for holding tension in my hands. My hands get quite spiky. My fingers get quite spiky. So it's really helpful for me to just remember to soften through the hands. A little bit of witch's fingers always helps. That's what they used to call them in my ballet class when I was tiny. The witch's fingers. Okay, and then coming to sitting in stillness. Let's bring awareness to breath. So let your breath be the anchor that settles your mind. Breathing in and out through the nose. Letting the breath start to deepen, maybe drawing the breath down into your heart as you inhale. Finding that softness right within the center of the heart. And as you exhale, letting the breath radiate out like ripples from the heart, way beyond the boundaries of your physical body. And letting this current, this rhythm, this tide of breath move in and out from the heart. So it's almost like the heart is breathing. There are so many currents within the body. There's a current within the spine. There's a current within each cell. This combination of light and water that helps the cell to breathe, to take in nutrition. The current of your heart, your blood flow. The current of your endocrine system, the pharmacy of your brain. Turning on, turning off, more of this, less of that, constantly pumping and receiving this messaging system that tells your brain what the body needs, brain telling what the body needs. Two-way communication, pulsing. There's nothing static, even in a yoga nidra. There is nothing static. There is nothing solid. It's movement within spaciousness. That's the truth. Billions and billions of atoms bouncing around in spaciousness. Breathing in, breathing out. And lay yourself down into your position for your Yoga Nidra nest. So there are different ways that you can lie. Feel free to explore. One way that is super comfortable and less common is to lie on your side. But if you do decide to lie on your side, you'll want a cushion under your head. You'll want a cushion between your knees. And any other kind of softness underneath you to take any pressure away. Or you can lie on your back and then have the cushion beneath both knees, so your lower back is free to stabilize and become a really comfortable foundation. You can even sit against the wall. Some people don't want to lie down. That's fine also. You can sit against the wall. Maybe bring some cushions so you've got something soft to sit against. And the eyes is optional. They can be closed or open. It's entirely up to you. If you want to keep your eyes open, just let that gaze soften into more periphery vision. So you're not looking straight ahead, although you are, but you're also looking out to the sides. And maybe dropping the gaze a little lower. So you have plenty of options. And during the practice, you are going to be still, but you're not locked into stillness. If you feel an impulse to move, you are welcome to honor that. Usually the impulse passes, but there's no Yoga Nidra police watching. You are free to make it feel as good as it possibly can. Be sure that you feel supported. That's really the truth of it. That's what a Yoga Nidra nest is for. Be sure that you feel supported. And then let the breath become effortless. You know that the diaphragm is moving as you breathe because there's this lovely inhale expansion through the belly. It's not forced. It will come in its own time. If you can't feel it now, don't worry, it will come. And as you exhale, the tummy drops back towards the spine. As the body starts to drop into stillness, we let the mind start to still, letting it focus on the breath. So we're using our awareness. We're not disconnecting and numbing out or dropping fast to sleep. We're using our awareness within this beautiful realm of Yoga Nidra, with all the safety and protection that she extends to us. Notice your sense of sound, the sounds that you can hear in the room around you. Perhaps you can hear outside. There might be evensong. The birds sing to bid good night to the day. You might hear people, traffic, life carrying on. See how far you can stretch that sense of hearing. Letting your tongue rest gently up into the roof of your mouth. Softening your jaw. Another one of those little pockets where some of us like to hide a little bit of tension. So just let that, any tension that you discover, let it dissolve. And let the teeth feel gentle. Notice the breath as it moves in and out through the nose. Sense the difference, the comparison between the inhalation and the exhalation. They're not often the same. You might be able to feel the movement of the inhalation and exhalation on the skin around the nostrils. You might feel how your skin feels across your face, the temperature of the room that you're in, where your hair starts to touch, maybe around the back of your head, your neck. Perhaps you can feel where your clothing rests on your shoulders and your collar, any straps. Perhaps you can feel around your wrist the temperature difference between where the clothing is wrapped around your arm and where your hand is exposed to the air. Can you feel a difference? Is there a difference in texture? Around your heart space, if you're wearing clothing that has a bra strap or any kind of waistband, maybe you can feel the difference there between that and other parts of the torso. The back of your body, or maybe the side of your body, wherever the foundation is. Noticing how that feels in comparison to the part of your body that is on the surface. Less pressure. And down through your legs. Perhaps there's a space where your skin is touching the air, or maybe a blanket, your socks. And just tracing along the base of your body, the foundation, all those parts of you that are touching the floor. And as you exhale, let them become even heavier. There's a conscious transfer of weight you're handing over. You know that your foundation has got you. It's even coming up to catch you. It's coming up to meet you. Like a real nest. And still this movement of breath in and out, slow and steady. It starts to feel more like you're being breathed and less like you're consciously deciding to breathe. Prana, the name of that life force energy, is just one name. There are so many. Prana traveling on the breath. Exhale, bringing a sense of the weightiness of this physical body. Inhale, bringing a sense of this infinite, spacious light of the subtle body. And we're going to bring the awareness and we're going to carry it around the body. So tonight is a magnificent supermoon, the light of the moon, in itself a reflection of the light of the sun, filling the sky all night tonight, I'm sure. And reflecting on the ocean. And just as the moon affects the tides in our oceans, the moon affects the tides within our body. Dissolving any concepts around separation. Melting into that beautiful union between you and the cycles of the cosmos, the cycles of the earth, the cycles of the moon. Bringing your awareness to the tip of your nose. And as you breathe in, let that breath travel up to the point directly between the eyebrows. Breathing out from that point between the eyebrows, out through the nostrils. Imagining a drop of moonlight, almost like a drop of honey or nectar, filling the space of your third eye. As you breathe into that space. Taking your awareness down to the pit of your throat. And as you breathe in, allowing a drop of moonlight, just like nectar, to pool at the pit of your throat. You're bringing your awareness to your right shoulder. A drop of nectar from the moon. filling up your right shoulder. Awareness to the right elbow. A drop of moonlight at the right elbow. Right wrist. The palm of your hand. A pool of moonlight. Tip of thumb. Tip of index finger. Tip of middle finger. Ring finger. And little finger. Palm of hand. Right wrist. Right elbow. And right shoulder. Whole of the right arm filled with the nectar of moonlight. Returning to the pool of moonlight at the pit of your throat. Left shoulder. Left elbow. Left wrist. Palm of hand. Tip of thumb. Index finger. Middle finger. Ring finger. And little finger. Palm of hand, pool of moonlight. Left wrist. Left elbow. Left shoulder. the whole of the left arm and hand and fingers, bathed in moonlight. Pit of throat, center of heart, deep behind the sternum, drops of moonlight, honey dropping from the moon. Center of navel, deep beneath the tummy button. Center of pelvis, deep within the womb center, the energetic womb center. Beautiful moonlight dropping into the center of the pelvis. Traveling across to the right hand side of the pelvis, the energetic imprint of the ovary. Right hip socket. Right knee joint. Right ankle joint. Sole of right foot, bathed in moonlight. Big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and little toe. Sole of foot, ankle, knee, and hip. Center of pelvis. Whole of the right leg. foot and toes, bathed in moonlight. Left ovarian space. Drops of moonlight, nectar from the moon. Left hip socket. Left knee socket. Left ankle socket. Sole of left foot. Big toe. Second toe. Third toe. Fourth toe. And little toe. Sole of foot. Ankle. Knee. And hip. Whole of the left leg, foot and toes. Bathed in moonlight. Returning to the center of the pelvis. This reservoir of moonlight deep within the pelvis. Reservoir of moonlight deep within the navel. A reservoir of moonlight deep within the heart. Moonlight at the pit of your throat. and moonlight in the space of your third eye. The entire body, from crown of head to tip of fingers, tip of toes, basking and dissolving in moonlight. Looking beyond the eyelids to see the infinite sky filled with moonlight, a reflection of the moonlight inside of you. Reflecting light in the sky. Letting your breath move in to the very center of your heart as you breathe in, and radiating out through the moonlight as you exhale. As we invite the quiet whisper of our hearts to help us remember the intention of our hearts. The gentle pulse of your breath, the pulse of your heart, the tidal current within the spine and the brain, every cell of your body. Allowing yourself to dissolve into that current. Hearing the sound of your breath maybe even hearing the sound of your heart. Softening the lips and the eyes, the face. Knowing that the protection and the safety of Yoga Nidra will stay with us through the night and the days ahead. And inviting the medicine of Yoga Nidra to continue to run through us as we sleep tonight. Preparing to close our Yoga Nidra practice, breath becomes a little more audible. You bring the tips of your thumbs to each of your fingers and gently press, returning to your body. Visualizing yourself as you take your position in relation to the walls and the furniture around you. Remembering where you are, feeling the space between you and those other things that appear to be solid. And offering up the nourishment of our practice to all sentient beings on earth, acknowledging that when we practice and we reap that nourishment for ourselves, we can extend that out to all so that everyone can remember how it feels to receive the medicine of Yoga Nidra. And offering our thanks to all the teachers that have come before us, all the teachers that will continue after us, to this little piece of heaven that is our community. Starting to move fingers and toes, stretching out through your arms and your legs, maybe taking anything away from your eyes. If you had something covering your eyes, and having a little look around. Taking your time to lie on your side. Making your way back up to sitting when you're ready. Now, many people stay resting after Yoga Nidra, so I will say farewell and close the video down, and hope to see you in the morning for some gentle yoga practice. The love inside of me sees the love inside of you. Namaste.